Welcome to Nacho Fitness Coach.
This is Nacho Ordinary Fitness Podcast.
I'm Sarah, and I'm Nacho Typical Fitness Expert.
And I'm Kaylee, and I'm Nacho Average Fitness Beginner.
We're here to spice up your fitness journey
with some humor, a little knowledge, and a couple glasses of wine.
We're here to prove that getting fit doesn't have to suck.
So whether you're a seasoned athlete or a couch potato,
we've got some tips, tricks, and unconventional advice for you.
Let's redefine fitness together
and learn to balance fitness and fun. So Kaylee, you know, you've been on this journey now for what, a year and a half or so?
Yeah.
Give or take?
Give or take.
I mean, it's been in different stages and whatnot. Mm-hmm. What's been your experience so far with being like on the receiving end of of like any kind of fit shaming?
As a fit person,
you're like, because now I classify as that, right?
Well, I do. I mean,
I identify
until you make
identify
it.
as a fit person now.
I now identify as a fit person. I wouldn't say I get fit shamed very often, but I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. Probably, maybe I've been on the other end.
Yeah, you've been on the like the badgering end or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at her. I cannot believe.
Well, not even so much like I think all of that comes from a place of like jealousy or insecurity when you see somebody doing things that you are not willing to do. Yeah. I think for some people it kind of comes out as a more of an ugly, shaming situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's a real thing though.
Yeah.
You have people, and it takes a lot of work to have a physique that is fit looking.
Oh, I know.
You're like, yeah, trust me. It takes a lot of work.
It does, yeah.
It's time in the gym. Like you gotta do the work in the gym. Mm-hmm. You're paying attention to your nutrition. I mean, it is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it is like an intense lifestyle.
Right.
If you're walking around looking, and you're feeling pretty fit.
Well, and when you're the friend who, can't, go out and have some drinks or can't, or you all go out to eat and you have the friend that can't,
was choosing not to.
Yeah.
They can.
Right.
Capable,
well, they're choosing not to, but,
right.
I don't know. I think from the not fit person point of view, like it can feel a little bit frustrating of like,
sure.
You can't just let loose for like one day.
Right. Well, you should be able to, but some people can't break their routine.
But depending on what your goals are.
See, it works.
Well, because when you were training for, the competitions, there's not a lot of room in there for, cheating or little ways.
It depends.
Right.
I mean, so that was one thing actually when I was really into training for my fitness competitions, that was actually one area where I refused to be that person.
Yeah.
That was like, I haven't been in a restaurant in 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm eating out of Rubbermaid containers. Mm-hmm. And now listen, if you're a physique competitor, it's pretty intense to get to that true bodybuilding style look. Yeah. I get it. Like it really does depend. I was doing fitness competitions more for like personal goals, for fun. I wasn't even fitness, like true fitness category. I was just more of like the bikini, like lifestyle kind of category, which your body fat does not have to get as low. Yeah. And you're competing in those competitions. So we're in those categories.
And so you left some room to like cheat and have fun. And you also didn't get first place. So
right. Yeah, exactly. So then like you can't really be mad at yourself because I also wasn't doing probably what exactly the girls did that won their pro cards or won or whatever.
I'm joking.
But I also traveled for my job. Yeah. And so I did make a decision where I was like, okay, am I going to plan that well ahead for the whole week that I'm living in my 6-pack bag, backpack or whatever? Or am I going to find a way to make sure that I can find ways to still eat out on the road? Yeah. And it is actually kind of crazy. You can get really super creative at restaurants. I mean, that blog, that Fastonomics blog, I would share a lot of the tips and tricks, but there was a period of time when I would travel for work. Applebee's at one point had like a Weight Watchers menu and it was really low oils, like lots of protein, steamed vegetables, not a lot of extra of like butters and oils and things like that. I would look up along the interstate, 30 minutes ahead and I would call and place a pickup order and I would order it, and I would get, it doesn't have to be driving through McDonald's every time. Like you can get creative and you can plan ahead just a little bit, but there are ways. And restaurants, they're used to accommodating people with like allergies.
Yeah.
I mean, and every single one of them has a chicken breast. They all have like plain meats that they can throw on a grill. They can steam vegetables. It can be super simple. You don't have to do the full on smothered burrito when you go out to eat. But that is one thing that, you have to ask yourself, like your goals versus your personal balance and your social life. That was one area that I wasn't willing to give up.
Yeah.
Like I would still go to restaurants with people. Now, do I still to this day have friends that make fun of me because they remember the period of time where we would go out to eat and be like, okay, so I'm going to be a little difficult here.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Can you just do like a super plain grilled chicken breast, no butters, no oils? Can you do just plain steamed broccoli? And that's it. Maybe just a little bit of salt, but like no butters, no oils.
Yeah.
And they would say, yeah, we can do that. And it would come out and it'd be great. But I do still have friends that remind me to this day from 12 years ago that were like, you remember when we used to go out to lunch, you would order that. And I'm like,
why are they worried about it though?
well, and I'm like, why is that wrong? I mean, that's actually not that bad of a meal.
Why are they still thinking about that?
I know. That's part of it though too. It's just like, how have we gotten so far away from like a true
problem.
Healthy, that's an okay meal.
Yeah.
There's really not much wrong with that particular meal.
To where they're still thinking about that 12 years later.
And
the fact that you got chicken breasts and vegetables, like it's not like you were like,
our nutrition and our culture so far off that that's considered dieting.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah, that's a memorable.
That's still kind of crazy, but it kind of goes with the whole like fit shaming thing. I mean, it's when I had a lot of one-on-one training clients in person and they would start their journey with us. I mean, we had a pretty structured transformation plan. I mean, we were known as the gym where, came in and it was intense, hardcore, 3 to 4 months, but you would get dramatic changes, right?
Sure.
And but I would tell people like being a child is not the only time that peer pressure exists. Peer pressure exists as an adult, hardcore, and it's going to come in this area because you will get people that will crawl out of the woodwork, that will go out of their way to force a piece of cake on you. You can still have it if you want to, but they're relentless though. They'll not stop.
I have this friend that I got invited to her kid's birthday party, and I was actually doing intermittent fasting at the time. And, I couldn't eat before a certain time of the day. And she had her kid's birthday party at like 9 a.m. And she asked me if I wanted a piece of cake. And I said, no, thank you. I'm doing intermittent fasting. And she still brings it up to this day. You know what I mean?
I'm not the one bringing it up today. You did.
Like I was really trying to stick to my goals and really, not let myself down.
Oh my God. But I was not
Sarah.
that pushy about it.
It was Sarah, by the way.
Spoiler alert.
Dear listener, it was Sarah.
The only thing I was like, and I was like, okay, cutting the cake for everybody and offering it out or whatever. I was like, here, do you want? You're like, no, I'm intermittent fasting. And I was like, really? Like you can't. And you were like, that's exactly what you said to me. Who has a birthday party at 9 a.m. and
serves cake?
I was like, well, I do.
Well,
because I have other kids in for their nap.
Like a sensible, like omelet or even like a bowl of oatmeal. I might have been like, all right, but it was
the cake.
I was. So I do. I when you talk about fit shaming, I do know. I know what you mean. I've really been through it
from you
and experienced it. Like I've been a victim.
I was actually mid-sip of wine. I know you started talking about that story, and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna hear it." And then I realized it was me, and I literally spit half of the drink out on the table. I was like, "Oh my God, she's gonna go there." Oh, but I don't feel like there was a lot of pressure that ensued.
There was a little bit of shame. Like there was just like that underlying, like, I am judging you.
What? I would never do that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, I think I need a moment to regroup. I think we're going to take a quick little break here, and we'll be right back. follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Nacho Fit Coach. Okay, we're back. Oh, I maybe needed a little bit longer to regroup, but
you didn't know that was coming? You didn't see that coming?
Not when you started it. No.
Like when I said, let's do an episode on fit shaming.
No. Is that really why you did this topic?
No.
Oh, jeez.
I do find it an interesting topic because now I follow a lot of like fitness influencers and people, and it really is a real thing. And like to bring it down to a serious level, if you look at the comments on people's, it really is gross and sad that the things that we can say behind a keyboard are not things you would say to somebody's face. And I think that's where a lot of this occurs and takes place. Yeah. And it really is unfortunate, the things.
And it's hurtful because, again, like for somebody to get to that level with their physique, it didn't happen overnight. Right. It is work. It is commitment. And you know what? You really should be looking at it of like being like, dang, girl, you go. Because that has taken a ton of work. Yep. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yep. You know what I mean? And like it does, to me, it feels like it's coming from people that are the ones that are not willing to do the work. Yeah. And they're just mad.
They're jealous and they're insecure. They're totally and here's the thing is hurt people hurt people. Yeah. So if somebody is talking about, what you're out there doing in a negative way, they're not. Thank you, Alan. Alan's refilling our glasses.
There we go. I spit half mine out. So I guess there we go.
If somebody's saying those things to you, that is not a happy, fulfilled, secure, well-adjusted adult human being.
On the other side, no,
that's saying those things. No, and so a lot of times I'll look at those things and be like, "Who hurt you?"
For sure.
Why do you feel like you need to say these things to somebody who is doing a hell of a lot more than you're doing?
Oh yeah, but it's still hurtful. Like
it is hurtful.
Even if you're on the receiving end of those comments and you're reading them and you are just proud of yourself because you're sharing some major milestone or like some goal that you achieved, and people start going off the deep end with just attacking you. Yeah. It is really hard to not take that personally, though, too. I mean, it's still a human being on the other side of that.
When you start talking about somebody's body, and here's kind of my rule. If it's not something that a person can change in the next 10 minutes, like when you're commenting on somebody's body or their appearance, it's not something that they can change about themselves. Like you have something in your teeth or, then don't say it.
Yeah. No.
And then it goes both ways as far as like people who are living in a body that they're not necessarily happy with. If somebody doesn't look the way that, conventionally attractive or skinny or fit or whatever, they already know it. Yeah. And you don't need to point it out to them.
No, they're probably pretty fully aware. Yeah. And they're either in a spot where they're just accepting of it or they might eventually do something to change, but it's none of your business. Right. Just keep your mouth shut. It's not worth it. I mean, but yeah, it is crazy because, when you see still images of people that are fit, if you saw them on the street in like regular clothes, you would never know. No. They're usually pretty typically small because their body fat percentage is so lean to see that muscle definition. I think a lot of times if you haven't seen people in person like that, you're expecting for them to feel like really super big. Yeah. But even like the world champion bodybuilders that you could swear they would be like Hulk walking down the street. Yep. They will be like 180 and short and tiny. Like in regular clothes, they could probably walk by and you would like never even know. The guys that would be at the gym before they would step on stage, they would be so lean. They just would look tiny, but I mean, that's just part of it. Yeah. And so,
I've seen a couple of TikToks where people like reenact like walking out of the gym. And then the guy at the counter is like, "Hey, looks like your cut's going really good." And then he's like, "I'm bulking."
You're like, oh, well. I mean, I think it goes that way too. I mean, a lot of times you talk about like cutting, but it's like there are people who truly are hard gainers. Yeah. Like their metabolism's running high. It's really hard for them. So like different things come hard for different people too. And so it's not just a fat loss shaming situation, but fit shaming. I mean, there are some people that want to gain muscle more than anything, and they are struggling.
Well, and that's just like, because if you start as a person who wanted to lose weight, you wanted to lose body fat, people eventually will see that change.
Yeah.
They will see that you lost weight, and they would go ahead and comment on the fact that you lost weight. But then on the other end of it, the building muscle, that's not as easily seen.
No.
You know, on a day-to-day.
No. Right. And you can be working really hard in doing that.
Yeah. I've talked to my sister about that because she's built a lot of muscle, and she's like, nobody, you know, we're at the 4th of July and people are like, oh, you look like you've lost some weight. And she's like, what? That's not what I'm trying to do.
Darn it. You know, maybe she's gotten leaner. I don't know. The composition changes, but that's the huge difference.
But your muscles aren't, you know, I guess
not going to grow and change that quickly.
Douchebag who's sitting there flexing
or you're on steroids. I mean, that could speed up the process a little bit too. But, you know, but it just, every which way, every angle, it is just not necessary. I mean, everyone has their own goals. And also don't underestimate just your general genetics and your childhood lifestyle. I mean, lifestyle plays a huge part of it, not just like your current lifestyle, but like your upbringing, what type of environment you were in, the habits that you were surrounded with, you know, in your formative years. It is also, you know, just, all of it. Yeah. It's not just one thing.
No. And I think for people who are really trying to stick to a certain, whatever, diet, lifestyle, when they're trying to change something, sometimes those people don't have room to cheat. Sometimes those people they can't have that piece of cake. They can't have those couple drinks. They can't, you know, and it's a personal thing because they know themselves. If I mess up this one time, I'm only 3 weeks in. Right. I haven't established it enough to where if I mess up now, I'm going to keep messing up. Right. You know? Yep. And some people don't struggle with that, but some people do. So you don't know when you are trying to get somebody to, you know, follow the pack or do what you want them to do. You don't know what their journey is. No. So if they say they don't want, you know, they can't go out for drinks or they can't do this or they can't do that.
It's probably just believe them. Yeah. Right. And just be like, okay.
Worry about yourself.
Yes. Don't be an adult peer pressure type bully situation.
Yeah, bully.
Yeah. Bully. I mean, it really does feel like that a little bit sometimes. I mean, the years that I was really kind of in the thick of it, I actually was in an environment and around a lot of people that were doing very similar things. Yeah. So it was not as difficult. Yeah. You know, when you're surrounded by other people that are kind of in it with you at the gym, you know, some clients, like, you know, even my friends were actually really, they were kind of like, well, this is just one more thing. Like, this is not surprising to us that Sarah's doing this. Right. So fine. You're not going to eat the pizza night. You're going to bring your own stuff. That's fine. I mean, my friends were always really great about it too. Just because it wasn't, I don't think, surprising to them that was something I tripped up on and I started doing.
You were just born this way.
I guess so. Good Lord. But sometimes that's just part of it too. You're just wired a certain way. And then, but that doesn't mean there aren't always then its own challenges, right? Everyone has their own challenges. Everyone's got something to do. But you know what? If they've got a goal, just leave them alone.
Let
them
that's
do
just
it. And just be supportive and be a good cheerleader and be a nice human being. Right. And don't go down that path of bringing up your own shit.
Yep. Because that's what it is. You know, you're mad that your friend won't eat a piece of pizza and they're going to have a salad instead or whatever.
Because slightly you're jealous probably inside. Yeah. You're like, she's doing something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She's doing something. Yeah. I'm having pizza. You know,
don't be mad about it.
It's a weird topic, I think.
It is. So, I mean, I didn't get anything really in person. Every now and then, like when post-show pictures would come out or transformation pictures that we marketing for like our gym or whatever come out, there were comments about whatever, you know. But I just also try to stay off social media then as much as possible and just not even go there. Like it's just like, don't stoop to their level. It's hard because you'll still see it sometimes, but
social media is wild. It's just a feral wasteland.
It is.
Like, what are you all? Is everybody okay?
No, right. If you only looked at our society, through social media, you would think that it is just chaos. Yeah. But then, like, you walk around and you see people interacting.
Yeah, nobody's talking to each other like that.
No. So how did that get started? Right. It's so wild.
You know, and especially I think on fitness social media is like, you know, a lot of times fitness influencers, I feel like in the comments they get accused of like an eating disorder all the time. And it's like, well,
It is. I mean,
it's
you have to have a little bit of that.
It's none of Marsha in Wisconsin's business. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
I do what I want.
Right.
I do what I want. Leave me alone.
Don't worry about it. You know, and because you're not going to make it, whether that person has an eating disorder or not, like you behind your keyboard calling her out on it is not going to make any difference.
No.
So just like, shut up.
No. Being jealous of her physique and then being like, oh, you look like a man. It's also not helpful.
No.
She's free to do whatever she wants.
Can we stop with the like telling women that they look like men?
Or even telling men that they look too muscular or whatever. I mean, just no one should have an opinion about anyone else's body.
Right. But
it doesn't really matter.
At the same time, people are putting their bodies out there.
Because they're proud of what they've done.
Yeah. Also for attention. And I'm playing devil's advocate here because I'm like, what did you think? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
True.
And I don't know. That sounds very victim blamey. But on the one hand, I'm like, I'm going to put this picture of my body out on the public internet. Mm-hmm. And everybody's just going to be sunshine. Like, then you're shocked, like, when you don't get the comments that you wanted to get. Like, you had to have known, because people are shitty.
True.
I guess.
Someone's going to have an opinion
about it. And I'm not saying they're warranted or they're fair or that you deserve it because you don't. But we've all been on the internet long enough
to know
what's going to happen. I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, mine, especially like progress photos and things like that, was always just a pride thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're just proud of what you've done.
See,
and you know the amount of work that goes into it, and you just But I mean, I also remember when I first got into it, it was a weird thing where I was like, whoa, why are you sharing that online? You know, but again, then that was just the environment I was in, and that's what we did, and that was the culture of the gym. And so it's just like, it became a little bit more normal for me. Even though I realized to most of the world, it's not normal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like most people don't walk around posting their pictures of themselves in bikinis. Right. With lights on stage and a crazy ass tan. Yeah. It's kind of weird. I mean, the first time I held up, like, I was really excited about my first competition, got the bikini in, was like all excited. Yeah. And then like, I remember we had a dinner party over and I had some friends that were coming to watch. And I was like, I just got my bikini. I'm so excited. They're like, well, let's see it. And I pulled out the package and they were like, whoa, that's it? That's all there is? And I hadn't looked at it like that at all because I knew what they looked like. I knew what they were. And I was like, oh God, this is really small. Yeah. Whoa.
You're like, I just showed this whole dinner party my underbunders and my bra.
Yeah. I mean, but they also were the ones that sitting out in the audience, you know, the night. I was like, they're going to see it eventually, but
that's true.
It is kind of crazy when you see something like in person. Yeah. And then you're like, whoa, those bikini bottoms do not cover very much.
Yeah. And they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to because you're doing a physique competition. Like you're literally trying to show the judges your physique. Yeah. But, it was, you know, but then I was, you know, sitting at our house with a dinner party of friends. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that reaction is normal, but I hadn't looked at it that way yet. So anyways.
So let's all quit being assholes.
Quit shaming. Quit fit shaming.
Let's quit fat shaming, fit shaming, all the shaming. You don't need to comment on anybody else's body in any way.
Just let them do it. And you know what?
And wait, let me finish. And posting a picture of oneself on the internet in any array of dress is not an invitation to comment on their body.
No, just move along.
Right. Unless you have something nice to say.
Be nice.
Looking good, girl. Looking good. Fire emoji. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just, there we go. That's the default from now on. Just fire
that's what
emoji.
I do. Fire emoji.
Like you're on fire.
I always say like, oh, you thought you were going to post a picture of a bikini model and we weren't going to notice? With 3 fire emojis. That's my standard. That's my standard comment.
It definitely is a real thing. For sure. It's unfortunate because I don't even, I mean, one, it's none of your business, but 2, like, we have gotten so unhealthy that when somebody actually eats a highly nutritious diet, all of a sudden they're dieting and you're like, this is actually just regular food.
Yeah. This is what we kind of all should be eating.
It's kind of scary. That's also really kind of like upsetting because I don't know. I mean, people are going to have to choose on their own whether or not they want to dial that meter back or not, if they're just going to keep living the life that's the way they're doing. But that's for them to decide, not for me. Right. So I can only control myself and what my kids eat most of the time. And the rest of it's up to you. Yeah. So All right. I think that's it. Yeah. That's all we got. Fit shaming. Right. Be nice, people.
Yeah, be nice. Quit being assholes.
Quit being assholes. Just move along if you don't have something nice to say. Keep your mouth. You know what? Grandma always said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Oh, my grandma never said that. She said all the things.
My grandma did not. She's like, Sarah, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Oh.
I'm like, well, that's hard for me sometimes. I'm very judgy.
So is my grandma.
Oh, we're going to... we would have got along. Oh, good times. Awesome. Well, that's it. I think that's all we got.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to head over to our Instagram at Nacho Fitness Coach and let us know how you feel about the topic. Do you love it or hate it?
Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And if you like our podcast, leave us a rating. See you next time.
You've been listening to Euphony Innovatives Sonified.